Welcome to the Snakebite, your home for all things Florida Southern College athletics, where we bring you inside access into the world of moccasin athletics. Here are your hosts, Andrew Pollen and George Connolly.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Snakebite. Here's what the Mocs have been up to. In swim news, the men's team came back from a 14-point deficit to defeat the St. Leo Lions this Saturday in their second home event of the year by a final of 136.5 to 125.5. Junior Carlos Bernardi led the team by winning the 200 and 100 freestyle races. On the women's side, the Mocs fell to the Lions by a final of 166 to 95. The only win of the event came when senior Kyra Frazier won the 200 backstroke with a time of 2 minutes and 10.7 seconds. Both squads will travel to Tallahassee this weekend to compete against North Florida, Florida State, and West Florida.
The women's basketball team opens up their regular season at home this weekend with a pair of matches against Alabama Huntsville and Lee on Friday and Saturday, respectively. Both teams are set to tip off at 2 p.m., and the Mocs will be supported by the cheer team, led by their new head coach, Josh Franklin. Our own Jillian Kurtz has more on this story.
Thanks, guys. I'm here in Jenkins Fieldhouse with Mocs cheer coach Josh Franklin. And, Coach, you just started your first season with the Mocs cheer team. How has that transition been so far?
Well, it's been good for us. With me working in development a little bit, it's been a little on and off our practice schedules. We've practiced at 7 o'clock at night. We practice at 6 o'clock in the morning. So it's really us just getting a feel for what works best for us. But it's been a challenging thing. We've got about over half the team this year that's never cheered before. So with 25 girls and losing a couple along the way, there's been some challenges, but we've been fighting through it.
And how have these first few weeks of practice been gearing your new squad up for the upcoming basketball seasons?
Yeah, so these past couple of weeks, we've been making sure that not only are we getting ourselves most physically fit things, but we're making sure that we know our game day stuff. So one of the things I told the girls early on, we're going to have what we like to call Sports 101, which was, hey, what is basketball? What is different things going on at volleyball, soccer, other things, because I want us to be out there at every sport here at Florida Southern. So really gearing up for the girls on that and getting us out here cheering and making sure our motions are the best they can be, that we're hitting everything sharp. But as I tell the girls, that nothing's going to be perfect in my eyes, so we've always got something to work on.
What has been the most challenging obstacle that you've had to overcome since starting at Florida Southern?
Yeah, I would say going back to, as I mentioned about working in development, for me, the biggest challenge for us to overcome is we've got only a few facilities for everybody to use, and we have such great sport teams, so everybody wants to practice, everybody wants to be better. So us finding that right time for everyone to be at practice, but also finding a facility we can use at that time. But, you know, we persevere through it, and if we have to, we'll run before we practice, then we'll run. We're pretty adaptable. We like to blend in and make everything as easy as possible.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Coach, and back to you guys in the studio.
Thanks, Jillian. The girls will play 16 home games at the Jenkins Fieldhouse this season.
On the men's side, the reigning SSC champs open their season with a 5-game road stand that begins this Saturday with a 6 p.m. game against Delta State. The Mocs will take on West Alabama on Sunday at 4 p.m. as part of the GSC Classic in Livingston, Alabama. The team's home opener is not until the 29th when they take on New Haven as part of the Terrace Hotel Thanksgiving Classic. Now, George, women's basketball and men's basketball, opposite ends of the spectrum, the 4-game homestand for the women and then the 5-game road stand to start the season for the men. How do we think that's going to affect the beginnings of their seasons?
Sure, I think that you can look at it in two ways. The women have that long home stand that they can really build off of. They can get right into the season, right into the momentum, and they can connect with that home crowd. On the other side of the coin, I think the men can really be strengthened by that long road stand that they have. In essence, you can become a bit of a road warrior. Later on down the season, there are going to be big games that they can play at home. So hopefully this lengthy away stand at the beginning of their season can lead them into being more confident road games further on down the line.
And then women's soccer has their final game of the season tonight at Tampa. They've lost 3 straight games. How important is it for them to end their regular season with a win?
It's crucial for any team to go out on a high note, especially this team. They've got their backs against the wall. They've dropped a couple in a row. They're playing a difficult Tampa team on the road, but it'll be great for their momentum, even heading into next season. You can already look that far ahead and to give these seniors a proper farewell because they've worked very hard over these 4 years.
Well said, George. Continuing on with the fall lineup. The cross-country teams will be competing in the NCAA South Regional this Saturday at the Holloway Park here in Lakeland. Mason Jones, Josh Wagner, Sarah Zamat, and Hannah Fleming had the best times for the Mocs in the SSC Championships and are among those expected to contend for the top spots in the regional.
The volleyball team split their games over the weekend, defeating Florida Tech on Friday by a final of 3-2 before being swept by Embry-Riddle on Saturday. The Florida Tech match was a reverse sweep for the Mocs, who came back from a 0-2 deficit, winning the final 3 sets on their way to victory. The Mocs had 122 digs in the contest, which is the second most in a single match in the school's history, trailing only their 133 digs against Tampa back in 1989. The girls are back at home tomorrow for their senior night matchup against Rollins.
It was announced that women's golf head coach Robbie Davis will be inducted into the Women's Golf Coaches Association Hall of Fame as part of the class of 2019 on December 8th in a ceremony in Las Vegas. Davis has led the Mocs to 4 national titles and 5 runner-up finishes in his 23 years at the helm of the program. The 2-time WGCA Coach of the Year will become the 52nd member of their Hall of Fame. He said, quote, "I am thrilled and honored to be recognized for coaching, something that I love to do," end quote. There have been 46 All-Americans under his leadership. That's all from us this week at the Snakebite. I'm Andrew Pauling.
And I'm George Conley. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week at 3.